Gaming laptop or desktop PC? Which should you buy? Both have advantages and disadvantages, and they apply differently to different people. These are the top 5 things that you need to consider when making the choice. But first, this part of the video is sponsored by Acer's Predator Helios Neo 16 gaming laptop, powered by up to Intel Core i9-14900HX processor with the latest performance hybrid architecture and Nvidia's RTX 4070 graphics. The Helios Neo 16 strikes the balance between performance and value. The crisp 16-inch 240Hz display brings your games to life with vibrant colors and ultra-fluid visuals. Combined with the fresh new design, metallic lid, and liquid metal cooling, Acer's Predator Helios Neo 16 gaming laptop delivers the perfect blend of style, durability, and performance. Level up your gaming experience with the link below. Alright, the biggest and most obvious difference between a gaming laptop and desktop PC is portability. A gaming laptop is just smaller and lighter. Good luck taking a desktop PC with you daily to school or work. Yes, I know, much smaller mini ITX systems do exist, but you would still need to take a monitor, keyboard, mouse, and some kind of power source with you. That's just too much to deal with. I think it's pretty safe to say that a desktop PC isn't as portable compared to a laptop, because a gaming laptop, on the other hand, fits easily into your bag and can be taken anywhere, from your home to a coffee shop to a friend's house, whatever. And that's because the laptop form factor is an all-in-one solution. It's got the screen, keyboard, touchpad, speakers, and battery all built in, and being more space efficient brings other advantages. I see a lot of people picking gaming laptops who just have less physical space, like students living in a dorm room, for example, or if you work in a shared space and have to move between desks, or even if you just want a more minimalist setup that you can easily take with you at a moment's notice. And even if you do prefer a desktop style setup, you can always just leave your keyboard, mouse, and screen connected to a dock. And that way when you get home, you just put your laptop down, plug in a single cable, and you've got the full desktop experience ready to go. Now, the next big difference between gaming laptop and desktop PC is of course performance. Desktop PCs have an advantage and perform better. Laptops have more space constraints in order to be portable, and less space means less room for cooling, which means power limits can't go as high, which then in turn means less performance. Now, that said, I think a lot of people severely underestimate what a modern gaming laptop is actually capable of. At least based on how many comments we get on our laptop videos that say, just buy a desktop. The fact is, a modern mid-range gaming laptop with Nvidia RTX 4060 or 4070 graphics from about $900 to $1,200 US can run any modern game at 1440p high settings no problem. Now, the naming differences between laptop and desktop GPUs is misleading, as we can see here. In a 23 game average at 1440p, an RTX 4090 graphics card in a desktop performs 49% better compared to a laptop RTX 4090 that shares the same name. That's a huge difference, and can make things confusing for new buyers trying to decide between laptop or desktop. But at the same time, a top-end gaming laptop performs similarly to an RTX 3090 desktop card, and only a little behind an RTX 4070 Ti, which isn't bad at all considering the smaller size. Laptop GPUs generally have less VRAM compared to their desktop counterparts, which is a disadvantage. But it's a bit less of an issue, as lower powered laptop GPUs typically mean you're gaming at lower settings compared to a desktop GPU anyway. The performance gap is much smaller with lower tier GPUs. The desktop RTX 4060 is just 6% faster when compared to a laptop 4060, for example. And the laptop 4060 still averages 60 FPS at 1440p in this 23 game average at max settings without any upscaling like FSR or DLSS. So yeah, desktop graphics cards perform better compared to their similarly named laptop counterparts. The product naming is dodgy and misleading in my opinion, but the fact still remains that modern gaming laptops are still capable of delivering a great gaming experience. Of course, assuming that you're gaming with the laptop's charger connected, because most laptops lose a lot of performance when running on battery power, and doing that generally isn't recommended for the health of the battery. And it's at this point where a lot of people usually ask the question, well, what's the point of a gaming laptop if you can't actually play games on battery? The way I look at it but the battery is there for lighter, less demanding tasks, like school or office work or watching a movie. For max performance, you need to plug the laptop's charger in. So in that regard, a gaming laptop shares the same limit to a desktop PC when gaming, which is that you need a power outlet available. The gap in CPU performance isn't as big between desktop and laptop. Of course, it depends on the specific laptop, as they all have different coolers and power limits, and therefore different performance. But the difference in single-core performance in particular isn't that big these days. A desktop i7 is similar to many higher-end gaming laptops, while i5 or Ryzen 5 desktop processors are similar to many mid-range gaming laptops. Next up is upgrade options, and this is a pretty clear win for the desktop PC, because you can take out pretty much any component and upgrade it, from the CPU, GPU, RAM, storage, motherboard, case, power supply, RGB lighting, whatever. But then with gaming laptops, generally you can only upgrade the RAM, storage, Wi-Fi card, and sometimes the screen or battery. Less than 1% of gaming laptops we've reviewed have a socketable CPU or GPU. It's extremely rare, but there are older laptops with those features for increased upgradability. So you've definitely got to do more planning when it comes to buying a gaming laptop, because in pretty much all cases, you're stuck with the same CPU and GPU for the life of the laptop. The only way to upgrade is to buy a new machine. And of course, some laptops even have soldered memory, which can't be upgraded. Granted, that is less common with gaming laptops compared to thin and light models, but it's still something to watch out for. Look, gaming laptops can have a fair bit of upgradability. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to make this 43-minute gaming laptop upgrade guide. But at the end of the day, desktop PC hardware just can't be beaten here. There's just way more modularity and options available. Hopefully, this continues to change in the laptop space with newer gaming laptops like the Framework 16, which has a swappable GPU. You can't really build your own gaming laptop from the ground up. So for the most part, buying a gaming laptop is kind of similar to buying a pre-built desktop PC, in the sense that both offer an out-of-the-box, ready-to-go gaming experience with minimal setup. But you'll probably be able to get more life out of the desktop, because in a few years from now, you can just take out the graphics card and put a new one in. There's just way more customization. Now, one of the most important differences to consider between gaming laptop and desktop PC is the price. Laptops usually cost more money for less performance, but that's not always the case. This is one of the better sales on an RTX 4080 gaming laptop that we've listed on our gaminglaptop.deals website recently. We update this site every day to include all of the latest deals, so check it out regularly to find the best price and save money on your next gaming laptop with the link below. Anyway, we're looking at $1,750 for an RTX 4080 gaming laptop, which is a good price. Based on my data, an RTX 4080 laptop performs about the same as a desktop PC with AMD's Radeon RX 7800 XT graphics card. And if I throw some mid-range parts into my cart on Newegg, we're looking at $1,465. But that doesn't include things the laptop has, like a 1440p screen, keyboard, and mouse. If I add in some cheaper options for those, the total price increases to $1,670, or only $80 less for a similar level of performance to the RTX 4080 laptop. Of course, you might end up spending more depending on hardware selection, or if you buy a pre-built system. Honestly, I think the fact that the gaming laptop was only $80 more, while also offering way better portability, is not bad at all. And don't forget, power costs money too. Gaming laptops are generally more power efficient, as they're made with running on battery power in mind. Desktop hardware typically uses more power in order to pump out higher frame rates. So long term, this could add up over the years if power in your region is expensive. The last thing you might want to consider is what I and a bunch of other people do, and that's a hybrid approach. Most of the time, I'm at home sitting at my desk, so I use a powerful desktop PC. I've got the space and I want the better performance, so that makes sense for me. Then when I travel, I take a laptop with me for portability. When I'm out and about, my priority is on portability. So instead of going for a large and heavy gaming laptop with maximum performance, I go for something with more more mid-range specs that's way more portable, like Lenovo's Legion 7 or something from ASUS's Zephyrus range. And if you don't need GPU power with you on the go, then you don't even need to buy a gaming laptop. Just keep gaming to the desktop and get a thin and light laptop that doesn't have discrete graphics. That'll end up costing less compared to a gaming laptop, and you'll probably get way better battery life too. Then you can instead shift the money you saved by not getting a high-end gaming laptop to getting a better desktop. In the end, gaming laptops and desktop PCs offer different use cases for different people, so go for the setup that suits your situation the best. And if that happens to include a gaming laptop, then you can check out the best gaming laptops of the year over here next. We review 30 plus gaming laptops every year, and these are the best 5 that I think are worth checking out, so I'll see you in that one next.